Very good evening, dear friends, members of the BSHRM, Bangladesh Society for Human Resources Management, and respected audience. This is Mohammad Mashikur Rahman Khan, President, Bangladesh Society for Human Resources Management. I do believe, though we are facing corona crisis since last 3 months and more than 3 months, although you are in safe and good health and is staying fine. Today, June
মাসিক ভাই লাইভ কি হয়েছে?
I think so. Yes, live হচ্ছে.
Okay.
Today, 4th June, Thursday, is a very special day for HR community in Bangladesh, as we have the opportunity to welcome one of the legend HR professionals, HR guru in the world, Professor respected T.V. Rao. He's from our neighboring country, India. I think most of the Bangladeshi HR professionals know him very well. He had been with us for many occasions in our international HR conferences, and he's very kind. When we invited him, he never said no. This time also, in spite of his busy time, he joined us. Although before we get into a core discussion, I think it is better to say something about our respected Professor Dr. T.V. Rao. Dr. T.V. Rao is currently chairman of TVRLS, one of the very resourceful consulting and HR firm, based in Ahmedabad, India. He was professor at the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, popularly known as IIM Ahmedabad, for over 20 years, beginning from 1973. He was visiting professor since then and adjunct professor of IIM since 2006 and till 2014, currently on the board of IIM Ahmedabad. Professor Rao is the first founder, president of the National HRD Network and first honorary director of the Academy of HRD India. He was also president of the Indian Society for Applied Behavioral Science, ISABS. Professor Rao was visiting faculty at the Indian Business School, Hyderabad, as HRD advisor to the Reserve Bank of India. He assisted a number of organizations on various HR issues. Dr. Rao's consulting experience includes agencies like USAID, UNESCO, UNIDO, UNICEF, FAO, Commonwealth Secretariat, London, World Bank, ActionAid, Swiss Agency Development Corporation, and various corporations like Alexandria Carbon Bank, Gulfire, CHR Oman, Commercial Bank, lot of global organizations he assisted to grow up and to sustain. Professor Rao and Dr. Uday Parekh are credited to have established the first dedicated department of human resources development in mid-70s, when we did not think about separate HR department, much before HRD was known and made it popular. So we can say he is the father of one of the fathers of modern HR, and he's the father of modern HR in India and Asia Pacific region as well. Professor Rao is the first to start in India leadership development methodology in mid-80s using what is later turned to in the US as 360-degree feedback. Rao HRD audit methodology is first of its kind across the world, and he started it and created HRD scorecard and on the same. Professor Rao is authored or co-authored a credit of over 60 books dealing with human resource development, education management, health and population management, entrepreneurship, development, among others. Today, we are very much fortunate to have a legend like Professor T.V. Rao with us today in this pandemic situation. We'll get some guideline how we'll cope up with this crisis moment, and we will get back to post-COVID-19. We have a panel of expert members with my colleagues, Mr. Kazi Rakibuddin Ahmed, Vice President, respected Vice President, BSHRM, Mr. M. Nazrul Islam, already joined, General Secretary, BSHRM, Ms. Fahmida Chaudhary, former General Secretary and Executive Council of BSHRM, and another Dilruba Sharmin Khan also joining with us. So,
how are you, sir?
Hi, fine. Very nice to see you all. Very nice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, my fellow colleagues, Nazrul Bhai, Rakib Bhai, Fahmida Pa, and we are expecting our Dilruba Pa will also join. So before starting, I'd like to know, how do you, sir?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We, India and Bangladesh, almost similar scenario we are facing.
Yeah,
So,
the whole world is going through, except the cyclones part of it.
Okay. So our topic, today's topic is challenges and opportunities of HR during and post COVID-19. Definitely, we will be hearing from you very valuable inputs. And now, first of all, I would request our respected guest, our guru, Professor Dr. T.V. Rao, to deliver his speech and direction. Then we will get some questions from audience, and our panel, expert panel, will also exchange views and make the program lively and very effective, which will be helpful for our professionals and all of us. So sir, would you please exchange your views what the challenges we are facing all over the world, especially India, Bangladesh, and this subcontinent. And definitely all the challenges have some opportunities also.
Yes.
What are the opportunities?
Yeah, that's right.
So, sir, Professor T.V. Rao, if you kindly share your.
Thank you very much, Mashekhar Rahman Khanji. Wonderful, very nice to be here. Nice of you to have invited me for this evening's event. Assalamu alaikum to all viewers. It's a pleasure to address the HR community of Bangladesh as well as maybe viewers from other countries. It's nice to be here. This COVID-19 or coronavirus that has hit everyone across the world, called as a pandemic, has created a lot of challenges. For some time, I think we were all quite at a loss, flabbergasted. For almost about 2 to 3 weeks, when there was lockdown in India, I just didn't know what to do. We were trying to discover what it means. Uh, Ultimately, I think for last practically 2.5 months we were under lockdown. I think it is getting slowly released. But we were all the time watching the news about what has been happening across. By about 2 weeks after the lockdown started, I started reflecting about HR, human resource function, because we started seeing a new life, totally a new life, and then started seeing a lot of challenges, and as Mashakur Rahman Khan said, also opportunities. I come from a particular philosophy of human resources development. We treat HRD when we started the first HRD department in 1975. I talked about it in two of the conferences I attended in Bangladesh. We started with a view that the main purpose of the department is to build capabilities of people, capabilities of teams and organizations, help people to enjoy work, and create a culture that makes people to derive happiness and so on. So what I'm going to talk is derived out of this particular kind of a philosophy. So if I'm saying something which might appear to you to be a little utopian or maybe romantic or not practical, you will have to excuse me. Because as an academician, as a thinker, as a person who started the first HRD department, I only think what opportunities are there, what kind of wonderful things can be done. First, let me start with challenges of HR. I think the first challenge is an interesting challenge, which is also a later turns out to be an opportunity, and that is everyone is affected. I think this is a challenge. Everyone is affected. So, if you are looking for somebody to help, they are also affected. I think the most important people who could help us and who are also getting affected are what they call as corona warriors. That is the doctors, and all the health professionals. So this is the biggest kind of a challenge. People who are supposed to help us also sometimes are afraid, and they have to suffer quite a lot, putting all kinds of uniforms and so on to protect themselves and so on. The other challenge HR people have is that there are high degree of expectation from HR, because HR deals with people, and the entire nation, in any nation you look at in the entire world, you talk of business, you talk of government, you talk of anything, this is filled with people. Therefore, the moment you talk of people and there is a crisis, there is always an expectation from HR. The HR therefore faces the challenge of meeting the expectations of multiple states. The owners of a company want HR to be in the forefront and serve notices to people. Difficult times, HR comes to the forefront. The employees want the HR to represent them. The doctors want HR to educate people. The society wants HR to be in the forefront to keep taking care of a whole lot of people who are suffering under lockdown. Government expects HR to prepare when there is a lockdown, during the lockdown, after the lockdown, and so on. Your family expect you to be there in the forefront, and you have expectations from yourself. The most important is you have to take care of. So you can see HR, because we deal with people profession, have multiple stakeholders and have multiple pressures. And the third challenge is an economic challenge. Economic challenge on people who lose their jobs. Economic challenge on the companies who provide employment, and economic challenge on the country itself, which is, I think, for many countries, I think you can see their GDP is coming down. I think their ratings across the world are coming down and things like that. And financial institutions, which are supposed to be supplying money, the interest rates are falling down. So I think economic pressures on self, on the family, on everyone is the third kind of a challenge we face. The fourth challenge is fear of virus. If you got it, will I survive? If I don't get it, am I likely to get it? And you look at all those who are getting it and you're worried about it. So fear is gripping. That is the fourth challenge. How do you manage the fear? And associated with this are the emotional insecurities. Emotional insecurities of working from home, working alone, working maybe with people, maybe with your spouse, managing the family and so on. All kinds of emotional securities come up. Uncertain future, where is this going to lead to, and so on. And lack of global assistance. You can't anymore wait for countries, well-to-do countries will come to you and give you donations, will give you aid and all that. I think everyone is under trouble because I think you saw in the Human Development Index, all those countries which have had high Human Development Index were the first ones to get affected. Europe was in bad shape, UK was in bad shape, America is in bad shape, and quite a few of these countries. So you can see. So the challenges, therefore, if you look at are for HR with high expectations are from all directions. All directions. Now, what are the opportunities? Now, if these are all challenges, I think opportunities are there when you look at HR from a different perspective. Now, first thing I like to point out, has it ever occurred to you that HR can be even above, depending upon the way you look at HR? HR deals with people. People means lives, saving lives, and providing livelihood. Doctors saves lives, medical professionals save lives. But HR people are supposed to be saving lives as well as providing livelihood. Much higher challenge than the doctor. Doctor doesn't take care of your economic issues. But a HR person has to make sure that you survive, you are prevented from getting coronavirus, all that is required, either it is social isolation or it is wearing masks or anything that is required. So HR people are supposed to be doing all of it. So they are both. That means if you elevate HR to a higher level, practically you become next to God because you are higher than medical professionals. You have to take care of life, livelihood, and who takes care of all this? I think we always look towards God to take care of it. So this is, if you elevate HR, what a wonderful thing to be called a HR professional. This is a great opportunity for you if you can take care of lives and livelihood of the people. The second opportunity this has offered is an opportunity for HR people to shed their image. I will shortly talk about what is the kind of image some HR people have. I think this is a great opportunity that COVID-19 or coronavirus has created because for a change, most people have discovered the importance of working at home. And when you work at home, what are you doing? You are sweeping your house, you are washing your utensils, you are helping your spouse in sometimes cooking. You are locked down in home, at your home, and you are doing a whole lot of other kind of a thing. And therefore, it has dawned on humanity, all of us are equal. This is a great opportunity you have. For in a society which is driven by hierarchy, divisiveness, where they say, oh, he is the chairman and he has half a dozen cars, a big bungalow, and so on. He is doing exactly the same thing as an ordinary laborer or the lowest level worker is doing. All of us, I think in last 2 months, I keep telling people, I've been able to manage my life because I'm not supposed to go out, because I'm now in my mid 70s. I'm told that you are a senior citizen, don't even come out, and so on. So we're locked down in the house. All that I could do in the last 2.5 months, of course, besides going to the webinars, using Zoom, and then having online kind of sessions, was to manage my life just with a pair of clothes. All that you need is two dhotis or lungis and two shirts to wear. One goes for wash, the other you are wearing, and then you have, two meals a day, and once in a while some fruits to eat, and all of these are available. So with a meager amount of, I think, almost about 4,000 to 5,000 rupees, you are able to manage. In fact, it may be even much less. If you say maybe 2,000 to 3,000 rupees in a week, you are able to manage your life. And not only the richest people, even the poorest people are able to, by and large, manage. So this is a wonderful kind of a thing. So this gives a phenomenal opportunity for HR to say, look, don't keep aspiring for higher level things. As Mahatma Gandhi once said, there is enough in this world to meet the needs of all people, but there is not enough to meet the greed of even a few people. I think this is what Mahatma Gandhi said. So we now discover, I think we need only small things. And if we can contain our needs, the world can be such a great and happy place. So this is a great opportunity for HR to educate people. You are the source of your happiness. Whether you're happy or unhappy depends on you. You look at your own needs and then you start containing some of these kinds. It's a great opportunity. I will also say another opportunity is for HR. This is the best time to serve employees. This is the best time to serve employees in terms of economic well-being. Now, how to serve employees in economic well-being when they are threatened by by staff retrenchments, by salary cut downs, etc., etc. We'll come to that. But it's a great opportunity. Even if there is a salary cut down, retrenchment, etc., I think it's a great opportunity for us to communicate to people. It is not only you, even the top level people has a salary cut down. Perhaps if you at a lower level you don't have a salary cut down, and there is a policy that you can have, so you can be much happier than the top level people and things like that. So this is an economic value addition. You can, this is a good time where HR can very clearly talk to people and focus on health and safety of people. Earlier, if you have said SHE in a company, you say, oh, this you have a target to fulfill. You are talking of safety, health, and environment. Sorry, now I think there is no alternative but to be safe. If you have to wear a mask, you have to wear a mask. Otherwise, you will meet your doom. If you have to maintain social distance, you will maintain the social distance. Beautiful time to ensure people to understand what health means, what safety means. And also is a beautiful time to tell people to take care of their own kind of families and have a good, healthy living. And what work means, what are the kind of facilities organizations are offered. Now, when you are sitting at home and you are working from home, you start wondering what a wonderful food you have at the canteen. You are missing it. What a wonderful company of people that you have. What a wonderful organization you have. So this is the time when if HR can take charge of it, can tell people. So please remember, company is a place of happiness. Company is our first family. So you are now having your second family. Enjoy whatever you're doing with your second family, and be prepared to come back to the first family when with maybe a covered face or with social distance and things like that kind. This is the time to build teams. This is the time to fix accountabilities. As a result of working from home, what is happening is now you are distributing work. By the end of the day, what have you been able to do? At the you have too many meeting sessions going on. So people have become more accountable. Measurement has become easier. Therefore, HR has a great opportunity to fix accountabilities, enhance accountabilities, bring out the best in people. Think like a CEO. This is the greatest opportunity. CEOs are busy, but for a change, we can tell CEOs, you can never run your company without people. All that you have done so far is because of people. I must tell you a very interesting phenomena that has happened in India. You have all observed this. To some extent, this may have happened, but may not be to the extent in which we have faced. Suddenly, we discovered a new phenomena called migratory labor. Lakhs and lakhs of people leaving towns, and when they left the towns, because they were under lockdown, the government had no clue about what is the way in which they can reach their homes. Now 2 months are over. Now industry is facing the music. In one particular industry, there were 600 and odd employees, and most of them left for their home. Now that the lockdown is over, the owner asked the HR manager, collect the people, and he could hardly collect 50 people. The question asked him was, what were you doing all these days? You didn't even know where these 600 people have come from. And today you are not able to. That means somewhere we lost the connect with our people. So it brings down the importance of people. And now, if you are not one of these companies, you can tell the CEO, look, do not ignore people. I am here to facilitate, because people and business are two sides of the same coin. In fact, business exists for people. You have no business without people, and your business is meant for people. It is people who help you to do business. So I'm a HR guy who looks after your people, who help you to do business, and who also look after even the customers. So I will look for new customers. If your business is down now, like I think many of the restaurants are going to be closed, If your restaurants are closed, what are you going to do? I will start looking at new ways. So it's a great time for HR to shed the old kind of image that they have and start saying, these are the new opportunities. So you should wear a different kind of a hat and start talking with your top management and so on. So this is the time to show compassion across the world. Just I think if you look at last year, before the COVID-19 happened, coronavirus happened, Harvard Business Review and many others have started writing articles. A good leader is one who is compassionate, who is empathetic. Now today, this is the time to demonstrate compassion. You can inculcate compassion and so on. So I think phenomenal opportunities that have been created if you are human, if you are a human resource or human manager. But in order to do it, what is it that HR manager has? I have recently given a video talk which says HR people have 7 hats to wear. These are 7 different functions to perform. These 7 functions are tool you have. The first tool is a legal tool. I call it a hat. You can wear a legal hat and serve people. You can wear an administrative hat. As an administrator, you supply transportation, infrastructure, canteen, a whole lot of things. You wear an administrative hat. You can wear a technology hat and make technology available to people. So you are the person because ultimately people are your focus. So you can wear a technology hat and serve people. You can wear a business hat and serve people by becoming like what Dave Ulrich calls strategic business partner. You can wear that hat and say, I am a strategic business partner. Where do we want to go? Come up with ideas and so on. You can wear a development hat like what we are talking about HRD, build capabilities, build competence, build culture, values, and so on. Now you can wear a sixth hat, which is a new hat which I am now promoting, which is a moral hat and a ethical hat. We all have moral responsibility to our society, to our fellow human beings, and so on. You can also wear a hat and say, I don't want to do anything which will harm the community, because COVID is a reflection of our trying to master our environment without respect for it. This is a very clear kind of a thing. When you don't respect animals, what happens, When you don't respect trees, what happens, You don't respect your mother earth, what happens? You don't respect your air, what happens? All environmental issues get created. And today, if you have to survive COVID, it is said you should be internally strong. I'm sure it happened in Bangladesh, it happened in India. People who have not seen Himalayas are able to see from far, far distance because the air got clear. There is a clear air. Delhi, I think, got a lot of good things. Pollution is, and in fact, the number of deaths in the country have gone down. Total mortality rate has gone down. We are only counting, say, few hundreds due to COVID, but when you look at the entire mortality rate, I think the deaths due to accidents have phenomenally gone down. I think this is because I think we have not cared in the past for nature. Nature is showing to us. So our ethical hat we wear is to tell people that I am taking care of. I am a HR manager. It doesn't mean that I am only compensation manager. I am only performance appraisal manager. I am also an environment manager. It's important that we maintain our companies that contribute to good environment. I am also society manager. This is the moral hat that we have to wear. It's a great opportunity. And the last one, I would say, 7th hat, is the spiritual hat. Now, this is where moral and spiritual to tell people, I think ultimately it is the greed that kills you. Ultimately, I think if you have to take care of it, do what is required for you to do to build your immunity. And the best way to build immunity is to be at peace, peaceful and so on. I think these are the kind of things. These are the 7 hats we wear. Now today under COVID-19 in India, I am promoting wear less of the first 3 hats. Don't wear the hat of a legal fellow. You can't solve all human problems post COVID-19 legally, because legal hat if you wear, you are likely to cause a lot of pain to people. Somebody will get the advantage. You are only looking at legal part of it. Administrative hat you wear, you can do some good, but not good for all. You need to be wearing more and more of technology hat. Certainly you should wear. Make technology accessible to people. Wear a development hat, but largely I would say you should wear number 1 spiritual hat, arouse the spirit in people so that they can take good care of themselves, take care of their families, take care of their surroundings. So it is the spiritual hat that becomes very important. Moral and societal hat becomes important, and uh, the development hat to build new capabilities, new skills in people, that becomes. So you can wear all these seven hats. But I want to warn you, there are also seven hates that people have had. I think we should be clear about it. There are different ways. I'm sure some of you know. About 15 years ago, there was an interesting article in UK, why we hate HR, and later many people promoted it. And I have identified seven reasons why HR is hated. I will very quickly go over this. HR is hated because they are considered as selfish people. They are considered as selfish because in some of the companies and some of the countries or some of the cities, we have seen highest rate of job change by HR people. HR people who promote retention themselves don't get retained. They are for a few rupees more, they are shifting jobs. So people say, don't tell me about commitment. You don't show any commitment. So this is one reason why HR is hated. Second reason why HR is hated is they are perceived as bureaucratic. They only know how to apply rule and they forget the human nature. Third reason why HR is hated as HR claims that people are equal, but they treat them as unequal. I think for them, status is very important. They have one rule for the chairman, another rule for general manager, a third rule for an ordinary labor. And if you are an unskilled labor, a different kind of a rule. You treat people unequally, but pretend as though you are contributing equally to the society. That's why HR is hated. Sometimes HR is hated because they are seen as stooges of top management. There's another. So because HR man is known to be saying, HR person, yes sir, I will do it. The company says, okay, get rid of 50% of the people. Yes sir. And privately he comes and starts crying, Arey, my top manager, I am a great HR guy. What do I do? How do I get rid of people? He can't say, sir, can we explore different ways? Can we call all the people and say, this is the situation we have? Can we meet all the 100 people and say, we have to, the business exigencies force us to get rid of 50 people. Now, can we put our heads together and then start thinking? Now, there are companies where the top management said, with a cut in 50% of our salaries, we can take care of the 50% of the people. All that they need is we just make sure minimum salary is paid to everyone. Nobody will be retrenched. The top management will cut down their salaries. There is one company in India who the CEO said, people need about 30,000 rupees. I want to make sure everyone gets 30,000 rupees and nobody at top levels will get more than 2 lakhs of rupees. So it is only about 10 times. The peak salary is 10 times, not 100 times. There are some people who get 500 times the salary of the lowest level fellow. This. So if you don't do this, you are hated because you are a stooge of the top management. And you are a power center. You always quote rules. You derive from your own kind of a designation that you have, and no compassion and empathy. And the last one, you are also materialistic. So these are all the seven hates. And I think we should be aware of these hates. And we should now use COVID to come out of these hates and establish ways to lift up. Now, I'll give you seven ways of HR, lifting up HR, and recommend some things which BSHRM members can do, and I'll close it there. Seven ways to lift up HR. If these are the hates and the opportunities I have already talked about, what is the way in which you can lift up HR? First thing, focus on the intellectual capital of a human being. Every human being is born with phenomenal talent. Remember this. Unfortunately, somebody happened to be an unskilled laborer. If only he had access to education, he would have become maybe the chairman of a company. He didn't have an access. Therefore, today, he is an unskilled laborer. Provide opportunities for this unskilled laborer, he can probably even surpass some of the chairman and managing directors we have in our company. So we have to focus on the intellectual. Even an ordinary unskilled laborer is born with some talent. We have to discover this talent. And as manager, if we talk of, there is a lot of value, invisible capital every human being has. We have to discover. COVID-19 has equalized everyone. Let us discover the what is in an individual. We have to dig deeper. Second, focus on the purpose. We have to lift up. Every company is meant to serve a large purpose. every individual also is linked to this purpose. Where we have goofed up in the past as HR managers is we never helped the individuals to lift themselves up to see the great purpose for which they are working. We only looked at a other person is very fixing nuts and bolts, but we didn't see the person is not merely fixing nuts and bolts. He is constructing a temple, or he is constructing a mosque, or he is constructing a church, or he is constructing an aeroplane, or he is constructing a great transport kind, and so on. We never made that person. We always belittle the person. I think it's high time that we lift up and we remind people, even a small thing you do is meant for higher kind of a purpose. If you protect yourself, you are serving a higher purpose. If you are alive tomorrow, you serve your family, you serve the society, and so on. And third thing, think big. We need to, HR people need to think big. Don't think small. Think big in terms of larger kind of like the human development index. Just like human development index, companies can have human development index. If people in a company can stay longer, if people in a company are healthy, stay longer, healthy. If people in a company have good competency base and they have good quality of life, quality of life doesn't mean lakhs and lakhs of millions of rupees. You don't have to earn. You can have excellent quality of life with 20 to 30,000 rupees. Now that is where our contribution is. We need to think big, and we should treat people as possibilities, and we need to be ethical and act with moral conscience and character. Most of the HR people are known to make promises which they don't fulfill. I think the trouble with HR starts with HR people themselves. If they lack credibility, they can never do anything in their life. The most important thing to lift up HR, the thing that you need to do is to be an honest person, to honor your commitments, and don't make commitments which you can't honor. Be ethical and be a person with character. Next point, think ahead of your CEO. Don't think your CEOs are great. You are greater than a CEO. I want to say this because you can see people and business. Your CEO sees only business. You can see customer, you can see your owner, you can see business, you can see stakeholder. You are the only one who can look at all the multiple stakeholders, and you cannot look at the community. Your CEO has a tunnel vision. He is looking at profits, top line, bottom line, and things of that kind. So if you are a good HR person, you lift yourself up. You can think ahead of your CEO. You think like PM. You think like maybe even God, because we deal with people. People are gods if you really look at it. The last, to lift yourself up, you need to learn, relearn, and continuously learn. I think there is no end for learning. So we have, I think, phenomenal opportunities that are available to do a whole lot of things. I'll now stop here by recommending 10 things for BSHRM to do. Since Mashekar Saab, you have invited me on behalf of the BSHRM, I want to leave some thoughts. I think there are 10 different ways in which a society like BSHRM can make a difference in the lives of people. But you are a society, all HR professionals. I was very happy to see BSHRM has, with I think with a country like yours, you have much larger number of members than the National HRD Network, which was started in India 35 years ago. I was so happy. I am told you have about 13,000 and odd members. That's a great thing that you have done. But each member is a messenger for you. This is not enough. You must double it, triple it, make this 10 times your membership, and make every member messenger of a human resource philosophy. There, I think you beat not only COVID-19, 100 COVID-19, you can beat that. First thing I would like to recommend, promote sharing of innovative practices. It is very, very important. Innovations are happening in Bangladesh in different sectors. Innovations are happening in your neighborhood. Innovations are happening across the globe. So I think you open up and then help people like, you invited Dave Ulrich, now you have invited me, I'm sure you can invite a whole lot of people. You can find some interesting things from countries and you share what is happening in Bangladesh. Share information and practices that are happening in your own country. Now these practices can relate to blended learning, relate to how to manage meetings, relate to way in which performance appraisal can be redesigned. Performance appraisals have to be totally revisited. You have to forget about quarterly appraisals. You probably have to look at daily accountabilities and things of that kind. Recruitment policies can be changed. I think on every aspect of HR, you can keep sharing innovative practices. This is my suggestion number one. Suggestion number two, focus on youth. Young people are the future of your country. I think HR can't say I have nothing to do with youngsters. I think youngsters are everywhere. Even within your own, I think you need to focus on HR. They are important for HRD. If you can build a few youngsters, I think there will be a lot of future. Third one, encourage research. I was very happy both the times I visited. Second conference you had was one in a university. I felt so happy to see such lot of scholars wanting to do their doctoral work, master's work, and things of that kind. I think you should encourage a hell of a lot of research. Now, a simple thing: people are working from home. How many people have done good research on working from home? What are the difficulties for working from home? In India, in some of the places we discovered, working from home uh, increases domestic violence. Now, there were about a few hundred cases we found it enhances domestic violence. Not everyone resorts to domestic violence. Certain people, they probably are, it's not fit to work from home. So, can we do research to find out what kind of climate exists in our families, for whom working from home suits, for whom it doesn't suit, for whom what kind of facilities are required, a whole lot of things. I think COVID has offered phenomenal opportunity for HR people to do research. In fact, I think just as medical research is going on, equal amount or even a lot of human research is required. I'm very sorry to say, I don't know in Bangladesh, but certainly in India, across the world, I'm yet to see good human research going on to look at it. So third point, encourage research. Fourth point, connect with colleges. All HR people, 13,000 people, each one of them pick up a school, go to school and teach 1 week. I think it changes the entire country. It builds the HR person. Adopt schools and colleges and start teaching whatever wisdom that you have. Fifth one, develop a competency model for HR. On the basis of whatever I'm saying, it's high time you develop a competency model for Bangladesh HR. For manufacturing, what is the competency model? For telecom, what is the competency model? HR people in all these industries. What is the universal competency model? I think let us not be just satisfied with Dave Ulrich's global competency model. That is the minimum. Dave has given us a wonderful kind of a mechanism, but we should build on it. We should go further. We should focus on what is unique. I think every place should have its own kind of a competency model. Develop your own competency model and build competencies of people. Six, set personal example. Enable every single HR professional of BSHRM to set personal example. Code of conduct should be there. It should be practiced and it should be. And if all HR people are perceived as honest people, I think you can see what a wonderful kind of a culture that you would have created. Sixth one, work with all categories of employees. Quite often, HR comes from corporate sector. I think this is the biggest disadvantage HR has because they have a knack of converting everything into commercial terms. Please work with government sector. There is no good HR happening in government sector. Work with government sector, work with hospitals, work with schools and colleges, work with different kind of sectors, and work with people, particularly line managers and workmen. If you don't do HR for basic labor, so unskilled workers and workmen, you have done no HR. I think it is very important to do workers. I don't mean unions and associations. I mean working with every single employee. So work with all categories of people. Work with communities. You also have to work with communities. All that we are doing, it ultimately affects the community. If community is not safe, nobody is going to safe. Today, all that our countries are doing is making communities safe. I think what the Prime Minister of India had done in the last 2 months, addressing 4 times communities, he is addressing everyone. So is every country. I think the Prime Ministers, all of them are saying communities are important. You can't just say I have nothing to do with the community. Sorry, we have everything to do with community. So I think in BSHRM, you must promote community consciousness in the HR people. Ensure commitment of office bearers in BSHRM. I'm sure you will have many office bearers, treasurer, president, vice president, every member. Sometimes we people, I think we are very eager to get into the board or governing council. From the time we got into the board, it is nice to put in our biodata. I am a governing council member of BSHRM or SHRM, etc., and don't even attend any of the meetings and so on. I think this is very unethical. Every single member who takes on an office bearer position has to commit himself or herself that you are there for a higher cause. This society is serving the larger kind of a thing. And I am here, I make a difference as a member of this society. Please spend time. This time you spend will help you, and God will bless you for all the time that you have spent for these people. The last point I want to suggest for BSHRM, periodically renew yourself, review yourself, institute self-renewal mechanisms. Never think I have reached now, I am the best kind of a corporation, I am better than everyone. I think even the best of the people need self-renewal. You have to stop once in a while, look back, get an audit of how you are functioning as a body, and help every individual to renew himself, herself, and so on. If you do these 10 things, you will be a great society. And if you lift up your HR profession, you are making a hell of a lot of difference. And Bangladesh already surpassed on many areas. I think I was so happy to hear last year when some of you met me that you are doing very well, and you can even beat India in terms of the GDP rate of growth and so on. I like to see this kind of a thing happening. This will be wonderful, and I'm sure you can do all this. All the problems that you are talking about when we started this, when you talk of retrenchment, etc., all this can be tackled if you operate with a spiritual hat. And the spiritual hat that you operate is HR is a philosophy and a way of life. HR is not a bundle of rules and regulations and legal way of dealing with people. Legal way of dealing people is the worst way of dealing with people. The best way of dealing with people is a spiritual way, by communicating them, sitting with them, reasoning them, and lifting them up to a higher level so that happiness becomes a part of their life. So thank you very much for whatever. I hope this is of some use. I'll be very happy to take any questions or any comments.
Thank you so much, sir. We're really grateful for your very practical and very ethical suggestions for BSHRM. And I do believe all of us will follow your suggestions, and it comes from your more than 50 years, 40 to 50 years experience, and also aligned with BSHRM. As you know BSHRM, as you know Bangladesh, that's why you have been able to suggest such a very practical way. I think really I am amazed to get your suggestion, and all of us will like to follow this, and we will be a good human being, ethical being, and spiritual spirit should be with us. Now, may we put some questions to you, and or our
Sure.
friend Nazul bhai, what do you think? Questions first, or you will?
Let's go by question. The people are eager to listen from Mr. TV Rao. So let's focus on question.
I think from Mr. Salahuddin Ahmed. Can you follow this, sir? Question.
Basically, Mr. Salahuddin Ahmed is comments. It's not any question. He just mentioned that he cited from HR scorecard of Mr. TV Rao.
Okay. Then another question, Laila Nazlin. My question is to Mr. TV Rao. The global COVID-19 pandemic has Nazul, can you
Sorry.
I think we just lost him. We lost Professor Rao.
Hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me
He's
now?
back.
Yes.
Sorry, I think I pressed the wrong button. I think that
No
look at
problem,
the chat,
sir.
so I couldn't look at. So yeah, your first question, sir. Laila Nazreen, you want me to answer this? The global COVID-19 pandemic has presented serious mental, physical, financial complications to people everywhere. How a HR can help their employees to overcome these situations? Thanks for giving us your valuable time. Number one, I think it is important for HR person to build himself or herself up. If you have to guide somebody, you should first take care of yourself. You should take care, number one, of your health. You take care of your own emotional being, take care of your spiritual being, and when you are composed and when you have the right kind of philosophy, you are in a good position. All that I have talked of is leading to that particular kind of a level. So it is very important. Step number one is to become emotionally stable. Okay, reach that level. I think most of us are. You don't need to do any great thing. First thing I want to say, if you are already a HR manager, you have enough to live, you have a good salary, you have already put in 10 to 15 years of experience. What else do you need? You have made it, yeah. Come on. You have made it. Now stop talking about any ambitious plans. You are secure, you are good, you take care of yourself. Now start looking at people who probably don't even have enough to eat because they are being retrenched or they're being, I think all kinds of things are going up. I think you start therefore looking at what are the ways. First start exploring, going in the middle of them, trying to find out your own kind of problems and so on. So understand, first be secure, be stable. Second, try to understand. Third, mobilize support. Support from your company, support from the community. First, I think if you are an employee in your company, you have to mobilize support from your company. These chap have given their life in the last few years. They have worked for the company, and now they are facing a threat because the company is facing a threat. So you work with the company and say, what is the way in which we can pay back to these people? Can we just make sure we feed them? Or you can tell people, we'll make sure that you will be fed for the next 6 months. We will be fed. Food will be given to you. And when we are in good shape, we'll come back to you. Till then, only a few people, there are all, you'll have to put all heads together. So this is my suggestion. Be emotionally stable. This is the time you are needed. You have to work with people. Don't go and tell them, no, do you deserve it? Your performance appraisal was bad. That is why you're being asked to leave. Okay, that person understands that. You don't even need to say that. Not at this particular point of time. Yeah.
Another question is from Mr. Gulam Nawaz. He is chairman of our Chittagong chapter, BSHRM Chittagong chapter. He asked a question to Mr. T.V. Rao.
Yeah, I read the question.
It is not visible.
What could be best possible way to rehabilitate these jobless people during our post COVID-19? Okay. Now there is no one universal way of rehabilitating people. It depends, number one, on opportunities available. Number two, on where do they stand in terms of using these opportunities? What is the kind of already skill base that you have? I think the important task for us now is to look for opportunities, to work with those people who can create opportunities. I would, for example, recommend that to create certain amount of, this is not necessarily for everyone, but at least for certain sections of people, create certain kind of entrepreneurial spirit in their mind, to think like a little bit of an entrepreneur, to explore. But first thing, make sure that they are fed. That is very important. They should get 2-3 meals a day. I think that is something which is, and I think once you have taken care of that, the next thing is ask them what are the skills. I think only one suggestion I have is keep exploring, start looking for alternatives. There is no one universal solution. Answer is there in your question itself. You have asked a question, what capabilities can I develop? The fact that you are thinking of developing capabilities is already a part solution. What capabilities I think we need to explore?
This question is for BSHRM and suggestion maybe. Lina Parvin, she is very active member of BSHRM. Yeah. Expecting BSHRM should build a forum for which development for upskilling. Yeah. This is the high time to show up and build and earn the confidence level of its members. Definitely. Thank you. I think can I answer to Lina Parvin? Thank you so much, Lina Parvin. Would you agree? I think my colleagues will also be agreed that this is the high time to upskill, reskilling, and to facilitate our members and community to to familiarize with the new normal. So,
I
Professor
think this is a
Professor
very
Virao
good
sir,
thought.
please,
It's a very good thought.
please, sir,
I
your
think
suggestion.
you should probably have in BSHRM a cell to constantly look for new areas of skill development. You don't have to do it yourself. You tie up with some of the local skill development institutions. What you are doing is what a HR person can do is to keep his or her eyes and ears open about the skill requirements in the environment in Bangladesh itself in different sectors, because new sectors will emerge now, because some sectors will close down, some other sectors will emerge. For example, I think that the digitization is going to have a phenomenal kind of an opportunity. Food industry is going to be the health and the pharmaceuticals and others are going to be different. So many other new things will come up. It's not that the world has come to an end. So BSHRM, because you have a base of 13,000 and maybe more of HR people, each person uses the antenna to look for skills around the entire country, not only in Dhaka, but also in the entire country. Then BSHRM should come up with, I mean, it's a continuous process. I'm glad this is a very good suggestion. Skill development could be, you are a facilitator of this. You yourself don't have to do it, but you have access to so many institutions. Like banks. I mean, you pick up one of the banks, you have the best banker with you, pick up the bank, look at what are the kind of things that are required. I think jobs are also going to be divided. Banks also probably into a different kind of model in future. I think there will be so much if they're going to. There is one company who said, I have to get rid of 30% of my employees. Each employee will become my salesperson. I, your job is to only go and sell our products. I will pay you depending upon how much you sell. What a good, beautiful way of looking at it. I think he converted everyone into an entrepreneur. I mean, his industry permitted that. It's possible. So banking can convert people into salespeople. I mean, there are so many. Humankind is very good in terms of coming with new areas. That's a good thought, sir.
Thank you, sir. Another question from Mr. Jakin Hussain Suzan. He asked question to me, if these lockdown remain unchanged, then what's your advice to the freshers regarding to getting the job? Zakir, Daffodil University. So, sir, you will give the final answer, but my suggestion, I might be wrong, or might be my answer not fully 100% accurate. My suggestion is to freshers that the traditional job may not exist post-COVID or during COVID. We have to acquire new knowledge. Suppose Industry 4.0, we are expecting that Industry 4.0 is coming soon, but already unconsciously we have been adapted with these changes. So personally, my advice to the freshers that you all, even we should acquire the new knowledge which will be adapted and would be required for new normal, especially the technology and digitalization industry. So if we can acquire the technological and digital knowledge, our freshers and our HR professionals, there will be no problem to get job. But what Professor T.V. Rao sir said, that we have to be more ethical, more spiritual, and we have to be a good human being. I think Rakib Bhai or Nozul Bhai sharing with me, and finally, TV Rao sir, as because this question is from the freshers, our
Correct,
next
yes.
generation. So we have to address this question, and we have to show them the way how they will proceed. Rakib
Thank you,
Bhai,
Manik bhai.
Well, I would only make one comment. I think we have already answered this, but I would say, COVID or no COVID, no jobs. Find your own job. Find your own job. Why does a fisherman doesn't ask where do I get a job? He just goes fishing. Why does a farmer not ask where is my job? Where is this? So why don't you find out what is your vocation? Why our world is vast? Come on, I mean, education should help you to find your job rather than to make you dependent on somebody to give you a job. I mean, this is ridiculous. We have spoiled our kids, particularly the B schools have thoroughly spoiled our people by saying it is our job to find placement for you, and the better the placement we can get, higher the fee we charge and more the money we make. I think this commercialized world should just be disbanded. This is what COVID-19 has taught us, that look, you don't need to be commercialized. Life is a lot more than converting everything into money. I think find your job, and then you will discover you are more creative. You could have been a lot more creative than somebody giving you a job and asking you to prepare PowerPoint presentations, making sure that the canteen menu is set, or making sure that the transport is organized. Is this the job that you are talking of? You want to get after doing a master's in HR and things of that kind? Please don't ask for a job. Create your own job. Be entrepreneurial. And we should teach them to be entrepreneurial. World is vast. There is so much.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
I think our Vice President and General Secretary will supplement. Rakib Bhai.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mashawar. Yes. Professor Rao, thank you again. I can listen to your lecture for hours after hours. Every time I'm learning a lot of things from your lectures. During your presentation, your lecture, you mentioned something about some bank, or I'm not sure, some company CEO who has fixed up the level of the salary package they're going to get. Even for he is about 2 lakhs taka, I guess.
Right.
So in context of the Indian subcontinent, we know that our CEOs, the owners of the company, that they have all the rights to make money and profits and everything. But since in the discussion you also brought up, but Mahatma Gandhi made a comment about the greed.
Yes.
What do you think in the context of our subcontinent, all these people? I don't want to say everybody. I'm just making a general statement, and I would like to know your comment, please. There is these people. Do you think they could really have a better, bigger sacrificial minds at this moment in time of needs, which could really help in the job saving of millions of people in general in the COVID-19 situation? If they could sacrifice their, well, I shouldn't say greed, but the salary cut and all these things, like the way you have given an example. Please, thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a very nice question. Number one,
Thank
if
you,
you
sir.
look at our culture, this entire subcontinent, if you look at us, we have for so many thousands of years, we have been ruled, slavery, and we are today, if you look at an average citizen of Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, they are all insecure. Very relatively, Sri Lanka, for example, is a little better. They manage their human development index far better if you really look at it. But essentially, we are all insecure. We are divisive. We keep dividing. and rightly we are aspiring to improve our socio-economic status. This is what is the kind of a thing. So all the competition, all the industries, everything that has come up is because of this competitiveness, achievement motivation, which was necessary in building whatever we have built. Certainly, I think which is a very good one. So, but what achievement motivation does is, the more you earn, the more selfish you become. It takes you to a different level. So we are at a stage in all India, Bangladesh, maybe there are minor differences. I think selfishness has gone to phenomenally high level. And the question you ask, how easy is it? It's not easy. If you ask me a percentage, how many percentage of owners can be employee centric and can sacrifice their own salaries? I think there are a good number who can sacrifice their salaries up to a point. But if they are pushed, the number may little more come down. They may be, let us say, for argument's sake, only 20%. 80% are selfish. 20% are, I mean, every time now I hear the, what is quoted is Jamshedji Tata, how he built Jamshedpur, how he entirely, I mean, he only, it looks as though the Tata steel was built for the sake of the community. I mean, that is the way. Even today, I think, I'm sure you have heard of stories of how people in Taj Mahal, when there was this terrorist attack, how they protected the customers and lost their own kind of lives. So now you have companies like Tata's who say that for us, employees are important. I think the last thing that we'll do is to terminate them and so on. So we are willing to sacrifice whatever is required and things like that. So there are quite a few companies. I'm sure you will find that also in Bangladesh with a good, decent philanthropic kind of an attitude who are willing to. But I think it is with these people we need to work to convert the other people. We certainly should look at other kind of people. So I will not be disappointed even if it is only 10 out of 100 who are doing this. I'll work with these 10 to make it 20 and work with 20 to make it. I mean, it's a long way to go. Can HR do it? Now, the only question, a counter question I ask is, who else can do it? By name, HR, human resources, God has for some reason given you this designation. It's God's choice. You are chosen by God. Otherwise, remove the title. Don't call yourself human resource manager, talent manager, people manager. Go and do something else. Don't be in HR profession if you can't do it. You have to go to the CEO, talk to the CEO and say, sir, these are the people who have built up. I know it is difficult. It is difficult to do it. So your question is, how many will do it or can they do it? I think they have. We have to make them to do it. It's a long battle, but it's fine. Somewhere it has to begin.
Thank you, sir. I think
Thank you, sir.
I think Nazrul bhai, do you like to share something?
Basically, what I like to reply against that question, what else the freshers can do. What I like to say, this is already covered by Mr. T.V. Rao. That is, the getting a job is not one and only way. So the Almighty Allah created a hell lot of opportunity for me to make my life, to ensure my livelihood. So I have to search the right fit options, considering the time. So to my suggestions to the freshers. So you have to search the way. So today's Pratham Alo covered that probably 110 crore acre land is unutilized land. So we may go to there and to find out the way to ensure my livelihood. That's
And
thank you.
I think I like to add one thing. Our mindset should be changed that we will not try to run behind the job, but we will create job for others as entrepreneur. Thank you very much. I think Pamida, would you like to share something? Sure. You are the only, our Appa is here. Please, would you like to say now or after some questions?
I have a point to mention here. You can consider it as a question or my statement.
Okay. Yeah. Please.
I will take very few minutes. we are talking about lots of things for HR. We are seeing lots of challenges for HR. But I was thinking HR is also the employee. They are not the owner of the business. So when we are talking about the salary adjustment, CEO salary, or moral responsibilities, thinking spiritually, they are okay. But how they will manage this as an employee, because interest goes to the top management, that is the owner of the organization, and benefit are going to the employees. So I think that is the most challenge for HR. TB Rao sir, can you address in this area?
Well, as I began by saying, you might find whatever I'm suggesting is a little philosophical, utopian, and so on. I would say, what is an employee? What is the meaning of an employee? I think we are not bonded laborers. An employee is meant to contribute to an organization to take it from one level to another level. And HR, by virtue of being an employee, HR employee, you have to take people from one level to another level with the belief, if I take people from one level to next level, the company will also get pushed up. I don't take them in a way they fight the company. If I take them in a way they build the company, create more opportunities for themselves and for others. This is the entire HR philosophy. Build yourself to build the company to make way for other kind of people. So this is the release. We have to release our concept. Our concept is employee means I have to follow the rules given by the owner, not HR. Now, BSHRM should create a new code of conduct for employees and say that our code, an employee means phenomenal amount of responsibility, accountability, not a bonded laborer. Okay, I mean that is what we are trying to do. Unfortunately, unions have taken the entire hijacked in a different kind of a way, but they are supposed to do this. Liberate the mind. We need to do that. I agree with you because the moment you look at your salary slip, you have surrendered yourself. Because you said, okay, when is my next salary? The moment you look at increments, I stop increments. Incidentally, I have written a paper which I shared with Dave Ulrich also, on human resources as human possibilities. One of the things I am suggesting is at least a section of HR people. I am saying the seventh hat I talked of, spiritual hat or a moral hat, cannot be done by somebody who draws a salary, can be done by volunteers. So I am recommending there should be HR people, human possibility volunteers. These volunteers will only work for some stipend. Companies can create new positions and say, I am recruiting, I have 10 volunteers, I will only give you this much of stipend, 20,000 rupees per month. For 1 year, I will pay you. I have 10 people, so I have 10 people. I'm how much it costs? 10 people, 20,000 rupees is 2 lakhs, which is not a big deal for me. So I will have 10 people. You are the spiritual guides of people in my company. Each one will take up 20 people. 10 people multiplied by 20, 200 people. In the next 2 to 3 months, you work with them, help them to go to the next kind of a. This is a spiritual kind of a thing. You are not an employee. You are a volunteer. This is a new kind of a concept. You are a volunteer. The day you don't want, you quit the company and go because of 20,000 I can get anywhere. So BSHRM as a society can start promoting this. Now, if you promote this, that person who asked the question, where do I do? Where do I go after my college? There are no jobs. Join as a volunteer. And 1 year you work as a volunteer, it changes your life. And you will create enough of opportunities. So BSHRM as a society can think of innovations like this and have a new concept. Employee is not bonded labor. Employee is also an entrepreneur. I mean, that is the way I look at it, ma'am. I hope that satisfies you.
That's true. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you, sir. I think this pandemic, COVID-19, put HR professionals in real HR strategic partners. And our employers should understand, should realize that HR is the real friend of the organization. and they should they should value the HR professionals to sustain and to continue their business. Now, I would request Professor T.V. Rao sir to address a very important question from one of our respected CUs, Mr. K. Mali. He is a very respected person. He run different large organizations and as CU, and he's very much associated with BSHRM, and we are planning to have a live program, knowledge sharing program with Mr. K. Mali. K. Mali sir said that I am glad that you have touched the subject of CU effect, where HR professionals using their people power differential can help the strategy hat. Coming to current COVID-19 context, business continuity seems to be the only vaccine against the burning issues, concerns, and uncertainties. How can HR managing people up, down, and across the organization just to make sure we make best use of the available business opportunities as a true partner of the CEO? He meant that HR is the true partner of
Yes, yes,
CEO.
I understand. Yes. Nice to see you, K.M. Mali sir, and that's a wonderful question that you have asked. A few things. Uh, Moving people up and down laterally and things of that kind. I think one of the things that COVID-19 has taught us is that it is important to have multiple skills, isn't it? Suddenly, many men are discovering the great cook in them at home. They started cooking new dishes now. They discovered you have become a cook, you have become a sweeper, you have become a what we call a jadupoda, or all kinds of things and so on. So I think one of the lessons that we have to learn is most of the time we pick up one skill and our entire life we keep spending only in that skill. I think it is time people should know that we are born with phenomenal talent. We can acquire a whole lot of other kind of skills. So this is something I think if you look at in the last 2 months, thanks to online education, working from home, free webinars, many people started acquiring new skills. People who never thought they are going to be coaches in the last few days have become big coaches, stress managers, spiritual gurus are also coming up and so on. So if you go to an industry, I think one of the policies HR need to work with is that we will now treat people as people with multiple skills. We would like to respect diversity in skills. So a HR person may tomorrow, I'm just giving for a hypothetical, can go to a supply chain management. A supply chain person who has compassion, etc., can come to HR. I mean, you develop that particular skill in them. Or a supply chain person can get into a production, or can get into R&D, can get into. I think we first of all we need to have policy where we should be able to willing to risk and say people have potential and we can try them out. Of course, you will have to be careful in terms of you don't blindly take somebody, you take a barber and make him a surgeon out of him. That you are not going to do. But certainly, I think you can make something else out of him and so on. So multi-skilling is going to become the order of the day. And number two, HR should get out of this trend of saying policies. I think forget. I mean, I am now saying don't ever talk of policies. The other day somebody asked, I want to set up a work from home policy. I said, no, I don't have a policy. The moment you have a work from home policy, you know what you will do? You start administering the policy. And you will hire another fellow and you say, I have 5,000 people, I have to administer all of them working from home, and you will have some 10 HR people gathered and you are all busy administering work from home policy. You can't have policy. Work from home works for some people, doesn't work for some people. So you have to first of all study, do enough of a research. So now I am saying have no policy, but policy for every individual. This suits you to work from home, fine, you work from home. These are the hours for you to work from home. Rest of the time you want to come. 1 day a week you want to work from home. 5 day a week you want to work from home. But what you are accountable, this is the output I expect, and things of that nature. So don't have one policy and spend all your life administering these policies. Have heterogeneous policies or framework. Have frameworks and then start using the framework, because your ultimate job is get the best out of every employee, and the employee will give his best or her best if he or she is happy. People are happy if you treat them with respect. And what does respect mean? Whenever there is an opportunity, I mean, help them to build. They can build themselves and so on. So the answer to you, Ali sir, answer to your question is, I think we have to work with CEOs and tell them there is a great opportunity. Make multiple skills available for people. Some people may not have any work. Don't throw them away. Give them subsistence allowance and get them to learn new skills. Ask them to find out new business. If I have 20 people, I don't want them in the company. I say, okay, I'll give you subsistence allowance. I'll also give you 3 months of time. Come up with some ideas. What can I do to help you to earn your living and also add to my company's products or process or customer base? 20 days, 20 of you I am releasing. And this is the way. This is the innovative, different way of thinking that is required on the part of the HR to work with the CEO. So I think we have to reason out with the CEO. That is where I suggested to BSHRM, collect as many practices as possible, because first thing CEO asks is, now tell me another company where this has been done. So normally such CEOs I respect, that nobody does it to be the first to do it. But if somebody says, no, I don't want to be the first, then I have at least some damn company whose example I can take and tell my CEO, sir, that company has done it. If he could do it, you are far better than them. Why can't you do it? And things like that. So that is why, that is the role of BSHRM as a society. Get people flooded with ideas so that they can tell CEO and tell the CEO, I think let us discover. So COVID-19, great opportunity to innovate, great opportunity to try out new things. Don't become bonded, don't become prisoners of your own policies and your own way in which we have worked in the past. This is the biggest lesson.
Thank you, sir. Another question is
There is
for
a question from
Kandur
this
Marigopal.
is my classmate.
Oh,
This
great.
is my classmate in my masters, and I am very happy to see Kondu Harigopal. Hari, very
Oh.
nice to see you here on this. I didn't realize that you're here. With advancements in AI and MI, it is likely a sizable number of current employees may no longer be employable. How HR department got to deal with such a situation? Make them employable, Hari. If good number of employees may no longer be employable, I think employment is a context, a skill that is available to be used by in a particular context by a set of companies. If they have become unemployable, that means they are not useful for this company. Find another company. There is no company where you can use such an employee, develop new skill. I think that is where the HR can come up with all kinds of new capabilities. We need to be constantly searching. There are no universal one-time solutions for this. So I think that is what. In any case, I don't think Hari would need my answer. He is himself a very innovative, creative HR specialist.
Thank you on behalf of BSHRM, Mr. Hari Kondar sir, for joining with us. You are most welcome to Bangladesh after COVID-19. And I think there are some other questions.
Harigopal is a great resource. He worked with Asian Institute of Technology. He's going around the world educating people. So I'm happy to hear you welcoming him to maybe next time you can get him to address BSHR.
Oh, great.
Dr. Harigopal.
It will be a great pleasure.
Yes,
a lot of comments, and thanks to you, and for you, we BSHR are also getting some inspiration. And regarding the new knowledge and what we have to do as BSHRM, we have been arranging such type of live or virtual meetings, virtual congress with global HR leaders and national HR leaders and entrepreneurs, even with the lawyers and with the other fatality of the society for improving knowledge
Yeah,
and
I think we
skill.
got cut off for a little while.
And this is, I think, signaling of all us that all of us
Okay.
that you are being tired. So I think we are trying our best. Uh, if I think our three panel members are here. Before concluding, you take the floor for giving your comments very precisely on it.
First, I like to convey my special gratitude and thanks to Professor T.V. Rao for being with us for last couple of minutes, and Bangladeshi HR professionals or members of BSHM, really grateful to you, and we learn a lot from your speech, which will help us to face upcoming challenges, as well as to get ready to face the challenge and to bring opportunity from the challenges. We can see a good number of comments where people are eagerly waiting to listen from you, and they feel happy after listening from your end. Uh, and hope in coming days we will get you with us uh, in such knowledge sharing session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Rakib bhai,
Thank you.
I would like to just supplement Nozrul's comment, where I know Professor Rao is a very good friend of BSHRM, and always will welcome that. And thank you so much. Looking forward you to visit us in person, inshallah, in future.
thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.
Famida
Very nice
appa,
to see you here.
Yes, we're feeling very good having TV Rao sir with us. We are feeling that we are all working together for surviving in this unwanted situation, and hope we will overcome. One thing I want to add here, from every discussion we are seeing that people are depending on HR. So now HR become a vital point for serving the organization as well as the human. So as a BSHRM member, we will urge to HR people to show their capability, and take this COVID situation as an opportunity, so that world can remember HR have done something extraordinary, that we could overcome the COVID situation. Thank you very much, sir. I hope we will again get you with us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you, sir. Before concluding, closing remarks from our respected TV Rao sir.
I have enjoyed. I think there are very good questions. I think we need to be constantly asking these questions, exploring new alternatives. I strongly believe that every human being comes in a seed form with phenomenal amount of capabilities. Unfortunately, we create condition to suppress these capabilities rather than using them. If only we can make people to experiment, uh, take remove the bondages with which we are, I think, telling them this is right, this is not right, and so on. I think they can really come out, emerge, and take every country, every organization, every company, every country forward. And organizations are themselves means to achieve some larger purpose. If one organization ceases to exist today, another organization will come. Well, we don't have to be stuck by saying, "Array, this organization has gone." I think something else will come. I'm sure there is so much of opportunity. Life provides. I mean, that is the way God has created. I think one of the other things that we have learned in COVID is taking care of nature. My only important message I can give you is please do not take the nature for granted. I think we must all remember all of us have come from earth, and will go back to earth. And that is what it is. So we are all equal. So why are we getting so much stuck in terms of becoming a source of agony for each other? We should become a source of pleasure for each other, so that together we can accomplish a whole lot of things. So HR certainly, as ma'am you have said, has an important role to play. It's a big challenge. I think it will be wonderful, and our job is to make everyone a HR manager. That is the final goal. Everyone is his or her own HR manager. And if we succeed, then HR has succeeded. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I've thoroughly enjoyed, and it is very nice chatting with all of you. Very meaningful questions, and nice that you provided this on live on Facebook and so on. All the best to all of you. Any point of time, I'll be there to be of any help to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I have no speech to say how I can express gratitude from my personal point and from BSHRM. But really, we treat you as our good friend, as our mentor, as our teacher, and best friend, one of the best friends of BSHRM, as you have been joining with us in several occasions. And today evening, you have made a history, almost 1.5 hours you spent with us. We have learned a lot from you, and our HR professionals and future HR leaders and our students will get a line of direction in this crisis, and we are seeing hope for our professionals, for our country, and whole world. We will get new things, new normal will come up for our betterment. And special thanks to you, sir, for specific advice for our BSHR. And it will be very much helpful for us. And will our General Secretary, Vice President, and Executive Councillors and other members are watching this program, and immediately we will organize. Our General Secretary, very capable General Secretary, will convey a meeting, and we will discuss your advices. And this video will be showed all these things, and we will get some takeaway from these, from your session, from Devulik's session, from Bob Morton and Asia Pacific Federation session, and our local national HR leaders and entrepreneurs session will sum up a line of direction for BSHRM. And thank you so much, sir, and thank you all the viewers and those who are watching this program and made some valuable questions, which make this session very lively and effective one. And please take care, sir, and we'd like to get you years together in future also as our friend. You are always invited to us, and please take care and be safe. All our friends, take care and be safe. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and definitely your employees and organizations. So thank you all. Goodbye. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Good night, my fellow panel members and Rakib Bhai, Nazrul Bhai, Famidapa. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Mashik Rahman Khan, BSHRM. Thank you all. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, sir. Thank you.